It's time for a little story again. In autumn of 2019, I was looking for a flat in North Wales. I ended up looking at two places. The first place was filthy and hadn't been tidied up. In addition, the landlord made a rather unprofessional impression by being a bit rude and coming off as somewhat manipulative. In stark contrast, the second place was neat and tidy. The decision was not a difficult one. I wrote an email to the first landlord, telling him that I had decided against this place, and offering some advice on what he could do better. He promptly answered back, saying that the advice is of no use. It's 2 years later now, and the place is still advertised as being for rent. What is the moral of the story? If you are stubborn and refuse to learn from your mistakes, you are the one who will pay the price. Now, you might think that the landlord was an idiot and that he got what he deserved. But think of the story as an analogy. I think we have all been the landlord much more often than we dare to admit. Let me ask you a simple question. Whenever you are in a debate with someone, do you think that you are right more often than 50% of the time? I have created a little poll and I would greatly appreciate if you could take half a minute to fill it in. If you know anything about people, you will already know that the vast majority of people rarely or never admit to being wrong about anything substantial. Think about it. When was the last time that you were debating with someone and they ended up by admitting that you were right and they were wrong? Chances are it happened a long time ago, or you can't remember at all. But let me ask you another question. When was the last time that you admitted to being wrong about something? And I'm specifically talking about important things here. So not like being wrong about the bus timetable. Rather something like admitting that your favorite food is produced in an unethical way, to name an example. Something that forced you to change something in your life. You see, we all have our biases, and we all fight fact and logic to a certain degree if we are not happy with a specific conclusion. But it's important to realize this and get our egos out of the way. I totally get it. Admitting to being wrong sucks. I hate it as much as you do. But you know what is even worse than being wrong? Staying wrong. You see, the suffering of admitting to being wrong is actually much less than it seems at first. Yeah, your ego might be hurt, maybe for the rest of the day. But that's all. And then the excitement kicks in. The excitement of having made a new discovery, and that henceforth, you don't have to defend a faulty position anymore. But people are so short-sighted. They'd rather avoid this temporary unpleasantness and stay wrong, potentially for the rest of their lives. And being wrong usually comes at a consequence. You might lose your credibility or money, but you certainly miss out on a possibility to develop as a human being. People who fail to admit being wrong about stuff are doomed to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Would you really rather defend a faulty position for decades to come, rather than saying, I was wrong, you were right, and then analyze the implications? For some reason, many people value winning the debate over actually finding the truth. But the irony is, winning a debate has next to no value at all. Think of the average debate setting. It's probably going to be somewhere on YouTube or Reddit or maybe in a pub. In either case, it's probably only going to be you and the other person, no audience. What's the point of winning the debate if you aren't actually objectively right? What good are you getting from convincing someone of something that isn't actually true? You see, winning the debate shouldn't actually be your goal. Instead, your goal should be to try and understand the other person's position and either learn from them if they are right or teach them something if you're right. But winning just for the sake of winning has no value. And it's quite naive as well. Many people will resort to fallacies once they run out of actual decent arguments. But do you think that if actual arguments fail to convince your opponent, that a fallacy will do the job? all it's going to achieve is it will expose you as a cheat. Now, while some fallacies can be legitimately applied without any malice, for instance, you can strawman someone because you legitimately misunderstood their position, it's quite hard to imagine an intellectually honest person confusing a "you too" fallacy or an ad hominem attack with an actual sound argument. In conclusion, don't even try to win a debate. Try to find the truth instead. Accept your fallibility. Don't try to hide it. That way, you will develop as a human being. And you will also set yourself up for being wrong less often in the future. And don't be discouraged by being wrong about a lot of things. In any given debate, it is usually impossible for both sides to be right. However, it is sometimes possible for both sides to be wrong. Think of two religions debating each other, for instance. So, mathematically speaking, any individual will be wrong more often than right when they're debating something. So it's just natural to be wrong about a lot of things. And also don't get discouraged by people who never grant you being right about anything. It's their own loss. Thanks for watching. I hope I inspired you to be a bit more open-minded. If you like this video, please click all the right buttons, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.